Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Great British Design Podcast. Hello and welcome back to the second episode of the Great British Design Podcast. I'm Andy. I'm here with Nick.
Hello.
And Harry.
Hello.
And we're all design graduates talking about design on a podcast. So, we're going to start off with what we've been up to this past week. Project related, design related. Do you want to start, Harry? We've been chatting about what you've been doing, so...
Sure. In terms of pure design stuff, I actually haven't done a massive amount compared to normal. It's been a relatively quiet week in that respect, but we're actually recording this second episode before we put out the first episode because we didn't have...
beans.
Yeah, because we didn't have things like the thumbnail and music, so... I actually spent this week, I got some ideas, made a photo on my bedroom floor for our thumbnail, which you will all have seen.
It looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, yeah.
It'll be in the corner.
And yeah, you'll be able to see it, whatever you like. And I also went to one of my very talented friends who made that music you just heard. So yeah,
sick.
Thank you very much, Alistair.
Thank you very much.
I definitely could not have done that, so thank you, that's good.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
Yeah, please, I'll pass on if anyone gives us any comments. But apart from that, I've just done a little bit of design work for a future project, potentially video, a very simple video of designing a mould and 3D printing it to then cast a plant pot. So that's sort of where
You're
I'm
a
at.
fan of plant pots as well, aren't you?
Oh, my favourite inanimate object, yeah.
Not that I'm obsessed with...
Not obsessed
not-
whatsoever,
of course
no.
not. No.
Not a single inside joke either, that's fine.
It's alright, you'll have to watch the video.
Yeah, we'll link it in a
the
future
video
episode.
down below.
If it's
Right,
out.
Nick, what have you been up to then?
Well, I got my 3D printer last week, my first ever
Hey.
3D printer,
Nailed it.
and I was holding off opening it, and it arrived before I thought it would. And I was like, okay, I'm going to film a YouTube unboxing video. So it's been sat in my room collecting dust for like 5 days while I built up the courage to even attempt to start a YouTube video of me unboxing it. And I couldn't find a place. I live in a shared house and I just have nowhere that I can open it. It's so frustrating. So I eventually just caved and kind of put it on the bed. And then I couldn't find the position to even put my phone anywhere. I couldn't use the tripods or anything. It was a really stressful Saturday. And eventually I just caved and said, okay, I'm just going to hold it and open it. And I got my wife to do it. And yeah, it's a terrible video. I'm not sure if I'm going to upload it anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, you should.
And then
you got it now. It's in the
I
public.
was going to film me putting it together. I was like, okay, it won't take me that long. How long does it take to put a 3D printer together? The video online is 8 minutes. It took me like 5.5 hours to try and get this 3D printer. And it was like, there's some
that's
really
not a fun
annoying like
video.
fixings that were just like, it was like a rectangle fixing that's supposed to fit in this channel. And the idea is you put it in horizontal, you screw it, and it turns vertical and it jams in. And I was screwing it, and it stayed horizontal, and I could just pull things off. So it was like the holder where you put your filament, I could just pull it off, and it took me ages. So, but
Yeah,
it's all up and running.
Yeah, I want a 3D printer, but you're making it sound like I don't.
Yeah, you haven't sold it very well, Nick.
Probably just my poor ingenuity, like putting it together. To be honest,
What was the 3D
I started
printer
off
that
with
you got?
the manual.
What's
The manual was like,
make?
do this. Sorry,
What's the Maker 3D printer that you got?
it's a
Okay.
Creality.
Ah, yes.
Creality
I know
Ender.
them well.
Is that the
Nice.
same one you've got, Harry?
I have the Creality CR10 Mini,
Ooh.
but yeah, they're all the same, really.
And they all print
Yeah,
stuff.
and
They do print
they
stuff.
print
I
stuff.
was a fan of your half-done cat, Nick.
That's the next part of the story.
Yeah,
I
my
think.
first ever print. So you get an SD card with it, and you get an option of printing a dog or printing a cat. I was like, okay, first print. The cat was like 3.5 hours, at least that's what it says on the file. So I was like, I'll print the cat. And it took like 5 hours to get to the point where it was like half a head. And then the plastic got stuck on the reel and then snapped. And I didn't clock on for like 5 minutes. And it was already like multiple layers above where it's supposed to be printing, and it screwed up. So
Yeah,
that's
I've
kind of
been
a
there.
shame, my first print.
No, it was pretty
And I
cool.
was kind
It's
of
a
come in
cool
like, what's
pen
going on?
Holder.
Exactly, like that's exactly how I wanted to design it.
You just edited it.
A wizard is never late, nor is he early.
That was printed as intended. No problems
Exactly.
at all. Yeah.
Exactly.
Adapted.
And then I did a little dog, which is cool. And
So
I'm
what
just
did
going
you
through the process.
Sorry, what did you sort of feel about it? Was it easy to set up and do your first print? Obviously, after you
I
built it.
mean, apart from building it, it's super easy. I just plugged in the micro SD card, scrolled down to like preheat filament, and then you just click on the file, and then it does it. It's really simple.
So
One
did
thing I
you-
did struggle,
Sorry, carry on.
I was struggling to actually get the filament into the hole. Oh, that was
No,
also
yeah.
a nightmare.
Is that a trick
That's
with you?
always a nightmare. That I haven't found a solution to that. You just sort of ram it in, and the only good thing about it is the filaments last a fair while, so you only have to do it every now and again. But
Yeah.
You not print something
Unless
to
it
help
snaps.
I mean, maybe that should be your first project with it, Nick. Yeah.
No, I think my first project I was gonna try and do like a 3D printed glasses with like 3D printed hinge, but we'll see. That's the first project.
you.
But at the
Damn.
moment, I'm still trying to get the tolerances and like clearances good. I did this like tolerance ring today, not the one that you told me to do. It was this YouTuber who gave me like a free file, and it
Okay.
had like 0.1 clearance and goes up to like 1 mil or something, and none of them work. So
Oh no.
so I need to optimize it quite a bit.
Why didn't
You
you
got
make
And I was
some
like,
little
is this
food to do.
supposed to rotate? Like, surely it's kind of, you had this key which you put in this triangular slot, which you turned, which is supposed to break the supports, and then it's supposed to turn. But on the bottom is like welded to the bottom. There was no way that was going to budge. So
Yeah, so you've got some setting up to do. So
Yes,
fine tuning of the settings, because that's another thing I was going to ask. Did you just used a preset PLA setting for the
Yeah.
temperature and that?
for that
Right.
I did, and then on the one I made today, I actually installed the Ultimator Cura. Is it?
Cura slicer,
And
yeah.
then I still use the pre-made one. It was like 0.2 mil print quality,
hmm
and just use that. I mean, I don't understand any of the settings at the moment, so no idea.
Perhaps we
No idea.
have a call some point this week, and I
Mm-hmm.
can go through some bits and pieces that I've learnt. I'm no expert, but I've had my
You've done your
printer a
fair
few years
share.
now.
Fair share
Yeah.
of prints.
And for reference, Nick did say what brand it was, but it is an FDM 3D printer. That's the stereotypical layer by layer additive printing. Because I've also been looking at because the price now for SLA printers is a lot cheaper than it once was.
Are they the resin-based printers?
So that's the resin ones. So
Mm.
generally the print bed is about a quarter of the size. They can print relatively fast, but it's the resolution is far better on a resin one. They're a bit more intense, as you have like basically a bath of like resin and nasty stuff, and fumes are a bit more of a problem. But if you're ever doing any like projects that need to be sort of really strong, the resin ones are really good for that, like accurate, strong prints. Because
They
the
do
main
look good. I've
downside,
watched some videos.
yeah, I mean
I've not seen
they're a
them.
bit more niche, but FDM printers, obviously the main downside is they're layered. So as soon as you start needing projects which have a lot more force involved or just need to be stronger, if there's any pulling on the parts, you have a lot more risk of delamination. which is
Yeah.
the main downside of printers, right? And that's why when you're 3D printing, having the right orientation is so important, because you don't want to be pulling you want to be pulling along with the layers rather than against the layers.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, that makes
they're
sense.
all limitations of printers that you need to think about when you're rapid prototyping. But you will
Yeah.
learn all of these.
Mhm.
Nick.
Mm-hmm.
There
Well,
will
I
be
watched a
many
video
fails.
a while back of this company that 3D printed a whole boat, like a
Oh,
2-scale boat, and it took them like a week of it just being on 24 hours a day, and it was awesome. I was like, and then there's also a clip of it being in the sea and floating, like it actually works. I was like,
That's
the
pretty.
like
That's pretty cool.
the capabilities of like this manufacturing process are huge. It's just needs a little bit more development yet, I think, doesn't it? Like
Yeah,
sintering,
yeah.
isn't it? That's
Because there's all the metal, the I can't remember the process, what it's actually called. I should know.
Is it not
researched
sintering,
enough for my
or-
dissertation. Yeah, there's loads. There's laser sintering and stuff like
Oh,
that,
okay,
like
okay.
SLS and stuff. I think is the process for metal, but they're good. But it's not like having just a regular cast piece of metal, because it's still done by layer.
yeah.
So you're not like a standard just billet of metal, which is the same stress no matter what direction you pull it. It's still like
Weaker.
it can delaminate, or at least weaker in some directions. So
So I think we had a chat in my last workplace of the idea of potentially getting a 3D printed door for a stove. And I think we got a quote, and it was ridiculous how much money it was for one.
there.
Mhm.
I'm
But
like, okay,
imagine.
but
It
as opposed
is-
to like 50p. Or,
yeah, but it is really interesting that these technologies are getting better, and the options will soon be there without many downsides, because obviously you can. Well, I'm going to say you could make a shape and 3D print it in metal in the future. That would be a shape that you can't really make feasibly in any other process.
exactly.
Like, if you're going to cast something, it would need a multiple part mold to do some of these things which you print. You just print, and it has some sacrifice material or the supports, whatever, and that then counteracts all of the downsides. That means you can't make it in another process, which is really, really exciting
Yeah.
for the future. That's the main
It really
upside
is,
for printing
yeah.
anyway. Like, you can literally print whatever you like with only the downsides we mentioned, but that's really the best part about
I
it.
think it's like
Anything.
time spent as well per print, isn't it? Whereas like you can manufacture like injection molding, like how hundreds of parts really quickly, thousands of parts really
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
I
They
guess
call it
that's
rapid
only
prototyping,
downside.
but it does take a while.
Yeah, I mean the cat took 5 hours and it's tiny.
yeah. But like the
But
other
it does the
side of
job,
that
right?
is I like for the project I mentioned briefly. I'm going to be 3D printing a mold that I can use to cast. It's reusable mold, unlike something like a sand cast, which you can sort of sometimes reuse them, but they're really not reusable molds. And if you want any other way to do a reusable mold, you're going to have to like mill a mold, and the cost of that is insane. The tooling costs for things like injection molding is insane. Like, so obviously it's lower batch what I'm doing, like
Unless you're Apple.
one at a time, obviously. But that's a really, really nice thing with them, which is really good.
Yeah, super.
waiting-
Like
I'm waiting
I
for this
remember when
mold
I was in
video.
college. Yeah, I mean, like I remember we had a
plugging
3D
it
printer
in.
in college, and it was a huge printer, and no one knew how to use it. Like not even the technicians. And now I've got one which is like tiny and in my
Like a
bedroom.
desktop. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
it's like
insane.
within like 10 years, it's
How
it's improved
accessible
so
that
much.
technology is now compared to what it used to be. Like
exactly.
I said, yeah, it used to be like hidden away in a special room in a like college, like.
only
Whereas now,
one
like, you
person
just
knows
got it
how
on
to
your
use
desk.
it.
So even the uni one was huge.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
true,
Yeah.
true.
It was massive.
I still remember our
Nice.
first print on it where we didn't prepare the print bed and we destroyed it.
Yeah. Spent hours
there
releveling it.
was two, wasn't there? There was some dodgy cheap thing.
There was the cheapest printer.
There was like a glue gun sort of situation. it was
Then
not
there was
good.
the big one in the actual.
And then there was a
workshop.
big one like a fridge.
But even though it was so big, that guy never managed
Oh.
to print a big lamp for me, did he?
He was
It was
No,
always about
You weren't
3
worthy.
centimeters tall.
he didn't care about his job.
No, he didn't. He didn't like it. Did he?
And also, yeah, we had like paying $9,000 a year for a course, and we were allowed to do one print each.
Too expensive, mate. Can't be printing that.
And there
for
was
you.
a deadline, a very early deadline, so a lot of people didn't even make it.
See, and people wonder why I bought my own 3D printer
Yeah,
to do my
exactly.
dissertation. It's like, I'm not relying on those
No,
technicians.
no way.
No, I agree.
Well, that was
Well, I need to go into
maybe
what
a bit
I've
of
done
a.
this week.
I was going to
as well,
say
wasn't I?
that
Yeah,
was
sorry,
a bit
I went
of
on a bit
a
of a
tangent
wrap
there.
it up.
Bit of a
Andy,
3D printing
Yeah,
tangent
so
there.
I've been, no, that's all right. 3D printers
What-
are
yeah,
cool.
what you been
I'd
up to
like
then?
one. I've been on the YouTube hype. So I mentioned it in the last one, but I've recently got back into making some YouTube videos in the design field. So I made one a week or so ago on different types of sketches in industrial design. That's what I'm calling it now, because industrial design, a lot of
That's the
people search
tag
for
word.
that than product
Yep.
design. So I'm changing my vibe. But yeah, so now because of that, I'm just going to make a series of sketching tutorials, like not a classic, like this is how you draw a line, but so that one is different types of sketches, and my next one is different pens and pencils that I like to use and different people like to use. And I'm
Yeah, that's a good
my
one.
aim is just a series for people either getting into design or students that might need a bit more help than their universities give them, because
Exactly.
we would have needed a bit more help. So yeah, so
Yes.
that's so yeah, I've been recording that recently. I've got my trusty mic stand here, which I tie this guy to, tie my tripod
Beautiful.
to film my phone. So there's
Oh,
I've
nice.
got a budget set up, but
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a bit of a ghetto
like it.
setup.
I
it's
like
a
it.
it's a proper budget setup. But I'm making the
It does
most
the
of
job,
what I've
though.
got, and
Exactly.
I think it turns out decent.
I think the videos are brilliant.
So I've got some good.
Really
Yeah,
good.
so
Thank you. I've got some good comments, and
would you say they're like pretty much pure like educational style design videos?
yeah, I'd
So if
say
people wanted to have a look.
I've changed my channel type to a how-to, because I feel like that's kind of what it is. Because I started off on there doing my own projects, showing my own projects and stuff, and then there was a couple of people that have like done the 3D modeling along with me, and I was like, oh, I didn't even expect that to happen. And there's like people asking questions like, how did you attach that to that? Because you skipped over
Yeah.
it, or like, how did you do this? And I was just like, I didn't even know people wanted to do that. So now that's a new thing for me. So I might branch more
it's
into
quite sought after, I
teaching
think,
sort
isn't
of
it?
situation.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I mean, because then
And I actually
that's
said
how
like,
I do.
we're definitely not shown. Yeah, like, we definitely weren't shown how, like, any types of sketching really, were we? At uni?
No,
We weren't
not
kind
at all.
of showed the key differences between each one and when to use what, and it was just kind of,
I've
oh,
learned this all
sketch this.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
you learn from just doing stuff and working out what works, really, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, so my one that's like types of sketches, I made up these types. I mean, I know that they exist, and I know there's like loads of types, and I've just condensed them down into 4 because, I don't know.
That works. That
Exactly.
Works.
Yeah.
It's like
Can
self-teaching
have
of
like
anything.
20 different types of sketches.
Exactly. I mean, that's
in this
also the reason that I
3-minute
did
video.
it. Because before you make a video, I don't know whether it's just me, but I searched to see if it actually exists. Normally it doesn't, but this one, there was a guy who was like, oh, there's 20, there literally is, there's 20 sketch types in product design, and I was like, oh, click off of that,
I've
make
seen
a simple
few,
one.
to be honest.
Too
yeah.
much.
It's just
too much.
Who cares? I
Yeah.
don't think there's a problem. Like, I think there's always someone who's doing the same thing as you. I
Oh,
think a
you
lot
just
of
got
the
to do it
time
better.
People just do it better,
Or in
and
a
then people
different
start
way.
liking you, like as a personality, don't they?
I'm a nice
I
guy.
reckon you're pretty likable. That's all right.
I
Yeah.
think so. I think so.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing something that other people do at all.
No.
Like, because you're going to have a different swing on a slightly different way of explaining it that
Exactly.
might help different people. So I think it's all.
I always want
all
to do
good.
it different, do it better. Well, yeah,
Exactly.
that's kind
Yeah.
of what I've been up to. Yeah.
Mm,
That sounds
very nice.
good. It's been a good week. You've got
Yeah.
quite a good routine, don't you, for getting
Yeah,
your
I've got a
YouTube
good
videos
flow,
out
and
at
that's
the
a
moment.
good segue, Nick, onto the next part. I like that. That was a
I
good
didn't even see
segue.
that coming.
Solid
I didn't see that at
transition.
all.
So we've got to transition into how we organise our own projects and how we organise our own work, and that's what we're going to talk about. So yeah, I mean,
That's our topic of the week.
I guess I'll start off because that was a solid
Oh,
yeah.
segue that I butchered. uh,
Just
So-
hijacked.
so my kind of plan is, I mean, I've stolen this from Harry, that's stolen it from Nick, or Nick that's stolen it from Harry, one of the way rounds. So
Stolen from the internet.
So we've stolen from the internet. Yeah, I do a weekly list now of what I want to achieve in the week, and I do little bits here and there whenever I can. But my main bulk is on a Friday because I finish early from work. Ooh. So I just do solid few hours sesh on a Friday. So that's recording stuff, editing, because it's YouTube is my main grind right now.
That's not out on the pub sesh, is it? That's a home
No,
grinding on
that's
the
a
YouTube
home
sesh.
sesh, that's a keyboard sesh of editing up stuff, and yeah, it's been pretty good, to be honest. I was kind of worried to start with because I was like, oh, Friday, that's probably not the day to do it after like a long week. But actually, it gives something to look forward to. Like, I really enjoy doing my own work.
Well, yes, it's very different from work, isn't it?
It's very different
It's not
from
the same. There's many a quote about, you can work 1 hour on something else and 8 hours for yourself, sort of thing.
Oh,
like,
easily.
Definitely.
yeah,
It
it's not
doesn't
really a
feel like
problem.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
I do
what
very
do.
similar, because I actually do daily to-do lists now. But mine are pretty much to do with everything. Like, I have exercise and all sorts on them, but
Oh,
I just
yeah,
like
yeah.
crossing them off. It makes me feel good. No matter how small
Yeah.
the task is, if you put it on there and you can cross it off, it does feel great after. But when I wasn't doing lists and writing down what I wanted to achieve, I found it so much harder to actually motivate myself to do stuff after work.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
Because
Definitely.
I used to literally finish work and then be like, I'll just play games tonight or whatever,
Mhm.
'Cause if you don't have anything to achieve, then you're not really letting yourself down.
No, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
true.
So I sort of have the mentality now as if I don't need to get everything done on the list, but if I've got a good majority of it done,
Oh yeah, definitely.
I will then feel fine that, okay, it's 8 o'clock, I can play a game or watch film or whatever and not feel really too bad about it.
Yeah.
One thing I actually do, because I pretty much write everything I want to get done down on a Monday. The classic, you write about 15 too many things down. And then I just basically just shuffle them every single day along. And by the weekend, you normally have most of
Arrow
the
to
stuff you
the
want to get
next
done.
day. Arrow to
Yeah.
the next day.
Just
Yeah.
so many arrows.
Cross
but,
out one.
because the way I do that, then I'm always thinking about it early on in the week, and you might have a really productive day. If I didn't write all those things down for the Monday, I would definitely never try to get them done. Because sometimes you get a lot more done than you ever think. Obviously, sometimes it's the other way, but then you can just push it forward, and it'll get done some other day in the week.
That's like
'Cause you can't control when
Exactly.
you're going to be productive and not. That's the main thing.
That's like a classic thing, isn't it? Where you say, I'm going to get this done, and it's like an impossible task. But if you say you're going to get it done, you're never going to finish it. But you'll be closer than you were if you gave yourself like an easy task.
Exactly.
I also
yeah,
find a way for me to get stuff done. If I've got a load of things going on at once, I put more things on my plate. That then things get done. Like, it's the whole thing like, with uni, when you've got like a week to get something in, you finish it. It doesn't matter how long you got left, you'll get it done just before it finishes anyway. So and it doesn't really matter how many courseworks you've got, like you get them done. So if I just put more things on my plate that I wanted to get done by the weekend, I'll end up doing them all anyway. And if I have more things, I'll probably get the earlier things done quicker, which I don't know if it's the best way, but it's really worked for me. Just put everything on there. If you get it done, you feel
that's
so
another thing
Time
that's
wasting
quite
is a huge
personal.
thing, isn't it?
Mm.
Like, you can
Yes.
easily, like, you spend like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here, like throughout the day, you've ended up wasting. like 2 hours of your day just
Yeah.
kind of doing nothing.
Just
So I think these
procrastinating.
lists do help. Procrastinating, like going out making countless teas, although that is part of the process. But
Now you drink the tea so you're not, so you work harder, so you won't procrastinate later on.
exactly.
Get the caffeine in.
Yeah, but there's this one tip that I heard, and it's from a book which I haven't read, but I've heard someone else talk about the book, so I can talk about the book that someone else had told me about.
Just like you read
But
it.
it's called
fine.
Make Time, and one of the tips in there is essentially record everything you do for like a week. So even if that's, I spent 10 minutes in the toilet, I went out and made a cup of
Watching a
tea, and
crypt
I was
video.
20 minutes talking to my housemate, watching a 10-minute crypt video. And then by the end of the week, you can see like patterns of, I'm spending 5 hours in the toilet every week. Like, what am I doing in that time? Like, what have I haven't used my time wisely, and then you can start making changes because you can actually see what you're doing wrong.
Yeah. It's just
So
like
that's quite
analysing
good.
your patterns and that.
Also,
But it's also you've got to be aware of that you're tracking time, and you've actually got to put time into tracking it, which is the hard thing.
I don't think I'd ever write, I just wasted half an hour here.
no,
Ten-
you'd
10
got
I
to
minutes.
can't
sit
see
back.
myself doing that.
But I think
But
also
that
using
works,
that,
I'm sure.
like you say, 10 minutes in the toilet, whatever, using those times, like, not that, but like my commutes to work used to be me jamming to a bit of Fallout Boy or something, jamming to some tunes. And sometimes I need that to wake me up. But like, listening to podcasts, audiobooks and stuff, that's a really
Yeah.
good use of your time.
This
like
podcast.
This podcast. I mean, mine's like,
Great for commutes.
mine's
yeah.
normally learning about stocks, but like,
Yeah.
Oh,
learning about
okay.
design's pretty cool too. Just
I haven't
doing some
found that many
learning.
design books that I like listening to be honest. I've tried a
Yeah.
few, but
That's
I need to find
that's
some.
why we're
Any
making one.
recommendations? Anyone?
That's
Please.
why we're making one.
Yeah, I don't know any stocks podcasts. I think I listen to I listen to the Future podcast.
Mhm.
I listen to AJ and Smart podcast, which is finished, which I'm so sad about. And that's kind of it. I don't know any other podcasts.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't listen to that many podcasts, but right at the moment I'm just listening to a lot of books.
Normally, I do books. I do YouTube videos that I just listen to the audio of. That's where I get my stock stuff from. Right now, I'm listening to Barack Obama's new book.
Nice.
Ooh,
I'm actually listening to Tim Ferriss's book now. Do you guys know Tim Ferriss
No,
is?
I'm not sure.
is he the actor?
Well, if he is, I don't know him that well because I didn't know he was an actor. If he is, but he's an entrepreneur guy. His
Okay,
book
no, it's not.
is
I'm making me
Not the
laugh.
same guy.
the book I'm reading is called The 4-Hour Work Week, and supposedly he does everything he wants to do, but only works 4 hours a week by automating things, and it's really interesting actually. He
Paying
seems to
other
get-
people to do it.
Yeah, so he said it like he had a business and he's all about sort of minimizing or like making all your processes the most efficient. And if they're efficient for you, then when you hire someone, it's going to continue to be efficient rather than doing it the other way around by having too much to do or things taking too long and hiring more people to help. He's like, well, you're just multiplying problems because if the system doesn't work and you hire people, then then they'll have the same problems. Now you've got two people to worry about.
Exactly.
But yeah, he said very early on in his sort of working stuff, he found this website where it was basically based in India, and it was a personal assistant thing. So he just got a personal assistant when he was still working at a job, working under someone, and he just got his personal assistant to do stuff. And he's like, well, if I'm working like 8 hours less on average a week because this assistant's doing a load of stuff, I get a lot more done. And it was like, oh,
I've heard of something similar where your assistant basically books all your travelling stuff and looks for hotels for you, and you kind of just go, oh, this is my price bracket, this is when I want to go there, this is when I want to, like, how long I want to stay, and then the assistant will just book everything for you. And I guess it saves you loads of time, doesn't it? So
yeah, I
why
mean,
not?
the way
Worth
he's
the money.
saying it, he saves so much time, but basically offloading stuff to other people, which, I mean, it obviously makes a lot of sense. And it'd be very nice to be in the place where I could pay for a private assistant. I'm not sure I'm quite there. But
Yeah.
Edit this
but
podcast.
no, it's a really good book. I'd really recommend it. Actually, it's really
Yeah,
interesting.
sounds good.
But it would be very nice to only work 4 hours a week and be able to
Would be
just travel
very
as much as
nice.
he does.
Yeah.
But
Because I
yeah,
hear
no, I would
like,
recommend that for sure.
you run a company, and then if you don't develop any systems, as soon as like you as a founder or CEO, you leave, and then you go on holiday for 2 weeks, and then you've got to trust your staff to kind of pick up the pieces. Suddenly it goes all over the place, and you lose sales, etc.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
need
he
to have
basically
systems
says,
in place, right?
Like, set up everything as if you're trying to replace yourself.
Yeah.
If you're
then
doing
you
it for someone to replace yourself, then they'll know how to do everything. They'll be able to do everything you can do because
Then it
which
becomes
is
like
what you
passive
want.
income almost, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Like,
That's
Oh,
that.
that's
I think that's basically what
That's the
he.
dream.
That's
That's the
how
word,
I
isn't it?
found him is through all this stuff with passive income and all sorts.
Mm.
He does so much stuff. I
Yeah.
just thought it was actually relatively relevant in terms of us saying about how we manage
Definitely.
doing work and self projects and stuff. Like his book is actually such an interesting read. Just how much he seems to do in so little time, and he's just so efficient with everything. So
Yeah,
that
that
the
sounds
min
good.
max life.
he is the
Min-max, yeah.
master of min max. Yeah.
I think what I do, like I started using this a few years back, and I do kind of similar, where I just do like a daily to-do list. It's kind of the first thing I do every morning. I kind of write down what I want to achieve in the day. But I use Trello. I don't know if you've ever heard of Trello before.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
No,
And essentially it works the same way as actually writing it down, where it's like a drag and drop kind of system. You write down your to-do list. You can use Trello for managing your business if you want to. You can use it just for a simple to-do list. And you kind of write, I've got it Monday through to Sunday. Every morning I wake up and I write down what I want to achieve that day. And then if I don't finish that, I can just drag and drop it to Tuesday. So it's kind of essentially what you said, of
That's
putting
your
an
arrow
arrow
right
in
there.
it to the next day.
Is
And
this
you
an app
can
on
also
your
put
phone,
notes.
is it? Or is it on
It's
your
I've got it on my
computer?
computer, but you can have it on your phone as well. It's quite good. It's free as well, so super easy to use. Just drag and drop, really, really easy.
Is
And
it
that's
basically
kind
just
of what
like
I use.
a notepad thing, or does it like alert you? Can you do it for other?
You
other
can
features?
set up alerts through your email. I haven't, to be honest. But I use it mainly just for like organization, and I also use it to like put ideas down of like, okay, I want to make these YouTube videos. I'm going to put loads of ideas down, and I just have it. Everything is stored in one place,
Maybe I should
so I
do
can just
that.
kind of open Trello, and I've got one for like, oh, these are my to-do lists. These are my ideas. These are my projects. These are like progress of projects. This is kind of the stage of like where I'm at with each project, and also tracking if people have paid me or not, and if I'm at that point. So I use it for quite a lot, but just generally like organization for day to day, I use it. But I also do like a post-it note as well, because like I do also like just crossing it off. So I end up doing 2 lists most of the time.
Nah, that's fine. That's good.
But-
Whatever works.
That's
You seem to be a lot more
Yeah.
organised than me. I'm not gonna lie. My file system is pretty
Yeah, I'd say
atrocious on my PC.
mine's pretty bad. My list of projects and stuff that I want to do is a notepad on my phone, and it has everything that I want to do. It has any like
Everything.
like any video, like any design video. It has any like Instagram idea that I've got. Any of like my gaming, because I have a gaming channel. Any of that stuff that I want to do. Anything that I physically want to make, and it's literally just lists. You just scroll forever.
Oh,
I got so
no.
much stuff, and then it's like a tick box thing, because you can put a tick box on like the on there. But then I never tick anything, because when I've done it, I take it off. So it's such a waste of time.
See,
That's hilarious.
I just have like 4 books. They're all here. I got this one. I always bring out when I'm on walks because it fits in my
That's a
pocket.
solid size. That's a
If
good.
ever I have an idea when I'm on a walk, you bet it's going in here. This
Not
is
with
my,
skinny jeans though.
that's the back pockets job. That's what that goes for. This is my weekly thing, and this is like I just like split it up into every day and
Yeah.
then the weekend, and then these are the stuff that I haven't done today. So that's what I do daily. And then I've got this.
I
for all
tried
my
that. I
investment
tried
stuff.
it, Harry. Oh, tried.
And then this is my
it's just
idea
easier on
book
Charlie.
for stuff.
What was
I
the
ripped
one
covers
before
off
that
by
one?
accident. Oh, for investment and money tracking
Hey.
of some description.
Quite a fancy book. I
It
like
is.
it.
Yeah.
It's because
Nice
it's for
notebook.
the monies.
Yeah,
That's why it's got to be
pays for
fancy.
itself. Yeah, and then this is one for like ideas. So any projects I want to do, I write in here. I normally, if you flick through it, there's like so many are just titles, and if I'm ever bored, I'll go in and then like actually design it or whatever, which I find is quite nice.
Yeah, that's
But I
nice.
just like it'll just be, I want to do, for example, in the future, I want to cast a chess set, right? So that's literally a title. I haven't actually thought about how I'd do it, if it's even feasible. But I put the title in there, and then you can go back, because you always just have random ideas or something. Oh, that'd be cool, and then you forget about it because you don't put it anywhere.
That's when I randomly press enter on my notepad and stick it in there somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. It's the same thing. I just like the.
It's a good
analog
idea to
life.
keep track of things, isn't it?
Yes.
Like when you come up with a random idea of like, oh, I could do this.
Exactly.
I use Apple Notes.
But yeah, that's
I
it.
kind of like I'll put a note in and I'll
But
write
that's a bit
it
clogged up.
and I'll draw a really picture. Mind my language. Can we swear? I don't know. But
Oh well,
Oh, we
that's up
can
to Andy
now.
to edit out.
well, we did. So I draw like a really bad picture and be like, oh, this idea for a ball you throw in the water and then after a set amount of time it pops up. It was a really random idea. It was like, when you used to throw stuff in the swimming pool when you were little and you get your friend to try and find it.
Like something that sinks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it sinks to the bottom. So the idea was like something you throw into the pool, which sinks to the bottom. But then if you can't, and it's camouflage kind of thing. It's the same color as the water, and so it's hard to find.
Like a jellyfish.
But then if you can't find it within like a minute or 2 minutes, it then pops up and then comes to the top, and it's like a game. You're going to try and find it within like a minute or 2 minutes or something. And I was just
I like it.
drawing these really bad pictures of how it might work.
I mean, I'm not sure how you are planning to draw something that's invisible, technically.
I'm not
but,
sure. I don't know. Well, that's the
That's
challenge.
it. I'd like to talk
That's
about
right,
how that'd work. That'd be
Complicated.
Yeah, because it's going to sink and inflate to the top.
yeah.
No,
And
that
So
with
would
a
be-
timer
physics
on
might
it.
be against you there. But the
Yeah,
color
it's,
thing, it could definitely change color after
Make
after
it
it
glow
takes
red
in
or
a certain amount of water or something.
Mm.
That could be
That
cool.
was just like a random idea. Like I was cycling and I was like, oh, what about this? And I just went,
It's
stop
always
the
a
career
this
by
place.
You just fall off your bike, phone out, start typing.
oh, Dragon's Den.
That's why I started
You
bringing
got-
a
you got
notepad
it.
when I leave the house, because I always would come up every single time. It'll be like as I leave home, I'll come up with an idea, and I'll go like try and remember it the whole walk, and then note it down somewhere. So I'd always just
No,
bring a notepad.
definitely worth it. I'd
Yeah,
say,
time's
like,
the worst for that.
I did see something the other day about like everyone has ideas, but like 1% of people actually follow through with the idea they do. So one idea that we get, we'll actually take off, and we'll do something with it.
I
We
don't
just
know.
gotta get through.
You haven't read my book yet, mate. It's not so good. They're very rough ideas so far.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it always starts with a rough idea, doesn't it? Just a random
Exactly.
thought.
Very true.
But the other thing I do to kind of stay organised throughout the day, I used to do this thing called the Pomodoro Timer. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. Where
No,
you
I've
write
not.
down, you call it the tomato timer, and it's like 30-minute stints almost. So you write down, okay, in this 30 minutes I'm going to do this, and you write down maybe one or two things, and then you start the timer, and you just Google tomato timer, it comes up. And the idea is that within these 30 minutes, you have no distractions and you just focus fully for 30 minutes. And then you get a 5-minute short break after that. You come back, you do another 30 minutes. And then, or is it 15 minutes? 15-minute short break, and then 30 minutes and 15 minutes. And then after that, you have like a longer, like hour break or something.
Yeah.
So you kind of like, you do really short bursts
Short
of
bursts
work,
with a
and then you
break,
treat
yeah.
yourself to like go make a cup of tea or something like that. But that's kind of evolved from me doing that to me doing these things called focus sprints, where I essentially do that for like an hour and a half. I just go, this is what I'm going to do this in this hour and a half, put an hour and a half timer on aeroplane mode, and then just do work for an hour and a half, no distractions.
Have
And
you
then
found
I have like
that's like really
20
helpful.
minutes to go make a cup of tea.
Because obviously you're working for yourself now, right? So
Yeah.
'cause a lot of the time when you're working for someone else in an actual job, an office job or whatever, the main reason you have to work wherever because your boss is around and all things like this. I bet I mean, I'm at home working from home at the moment, but when you're at home, is that you find that's the best way for you to sort of stay on it and focused when working and stuff?
Yeah,
like
because I found myself just, especially like I'm working on a few different projects.
Mhm.
So you have that like transition where, okay, I've finished working on this project and now I need to completely change to this project, and you've got to remember what you've done and, okay, what have we talked about? Why have I made these decisions already? Kind of thing. So it's like a completely different hop. And I find that if I just go, okay, I'm going to focus on this and then have a break and then start on like something different, it helps me to kind of do that. Because in the past, when I didn't do it, that's when you kind of waste so much time in your day. That's when you end up watching like 3 crypt videos. You're like, oh, I'll treat myself to one video, and then suddenly, like, because you haven't kind of written down your plan, you end up wasting so much time, and you don't do anything all day.
Working from home, I struggled so much to the point where I actually locked myself out of YouTube from 8 o'clock till 4
It's
o'clock.
a good idea, actually. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Because it's so dangerous. I literally scroll for like 30 seconds down my recommended page on YouTube and have like 15 videos on
Yeah,
watch,
you
and then
just
it's
wanna watch
lunchtime.
everything.
You're like, oh.
I
So,
never use the recommended tab.
I never use the
use it.
subscriber tab now.
Yeah.
So
Oh, subscriber tab.
the
Subscriber tab straight away. People are like, oh, you get so much random stuff on the recommended tab. I'm like,
it knows me now. It knows my brain. It knows exactly what I want to see. I'm playing right into it, I know, but it's
That's
really
it.
good.
The algorithm's feasting off your brain, Harry.
Oh yeah, I'm
Oh,
a
yeah.
fan of the algorithm.
Right,
Keeps
it's
finding me
fine.
new people to watch. It's great.
Exactly, but that is that's really good though. It is also really good when you find a new person to watch.
Oh, they have like 15
It's a
videos.
good
It's
feeling.
another
So
day
that
of
was
work.
the Daniel Schiffer one when you told me about him. I think I've seen every single one of his videos now.
He's very good.
After,
I had that
like
with
3 weeks or something. It's just like it's the
Yeah.
whole way
Binging.
down, and then
It's very easily
Yeah,
done.
mine was that
Please.
for Thomas Heaton and
Yes.
Peter McKinnon.
Of course.
Introduced me to those people, and it's
watched
Are
a
you
couple
even
of his.
Been bad
you
for me.
don't watch Peter McKinnon? Like, come on.
Mm.
Surely everyone watches Peter McKinnon.
I never heard of him
now-
until
no,
you
He's
I'd,
like
told
the
me.
I'd never heard
best.
of him,
He's-
but I like his. I've watched a couple of his like product photography ones because obviously
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're in. Well, that's what I'm into. I assume it's what you guys are into because that's
I
why we're
did some
here.
this week. Yeah.
Well,
but
you know, I dabble.
Dabble.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, he had one of like 4 things not to do. I just like his just like quick, it's like bam, 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 just like super quick.
point,
Do this.
Entertaining.
Don't
yeah.
do that.
But
Don't do
his
that.
videos have a very nice pace to them.
Yeah.
You just won't get bored. It's very, very good. So anything photography related, I would highly recommend him if you're interested.
So,
Definitely.
I've been looking up cameras recently. That's a
Oh.
tangent, but yeah,
Oh,
I'll talk to you about that
what
later.
sort of cameras? Well, you can talk about that now if you want.
I'm looking at mirrorless cameras.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
That's a step beyond me, mate. I'm still old school. Still got a mirror in mine.
Well,
Yeah.
it's because they're good for the old filming.
They're better for, well, not better, but yeah, they're more for video.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I'd primarily use it for. I mean, I'm only looking, but
That would be very cool.
yeah,
That'd be
Because
very
then I can
nice,
get you
yeah.
in, actually get you into photography.
I would,
You have no
I'd
excuse
love
'cause you've got
to.
a
It's just
camera.
I don't have the tools, don't have the equipment.
You can use your phone if you want.
Yeah, it doesn't give the same effect. Like, I mean,
Well, it's not as fun. That's the main thing.
yeah,
It's definitely.
You know,
not
I
as
think
fun.
there's
To be-
something about having like your camera out, and with your phone, you can just go for a walk with your camera. Your goal is to go out and take photos.
exactly.
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a different
you don't
mindset.
take as much if
Yeah.
you just go out with your phone because your phone's always on you anyway.
Mm.
Yeah.
Definitely a different mindset when you've got a big camera and you're like there to
Mm.
look
Yeah.
for a good.
And I
But
bet
I'm
it's the
like-
same when you get a film camera as well.
Mm.
But it's like such a nice
awesome, yeah.
feeling.
You can't
Oh.
even see him. It's a bit dark in the
Too
background.
dark. I need to sort my lighting out.
Yeah, I'm like,
I do too. We were talking about this beforehand. Both of you are in it's like the middle of the day, and it is actually nighttime right now. And my room looks like it's nighttime. But I just don't have enough lights.
it's got a makeshift ring light with my angle poise. That's all it is. My angle poise lamp.
I need to work on my lighting for
I need to
sure.
be a bit closer. Maybe I can. No, it doesn't.
No,
probably
no,
doesn't
you're,
help
you're
also.
fine. You're fine. You're absolutely
Probably
fine.
doesn't help that I am wearing the same black hoodie as last week, so I'm just blending into the background. Well, what are you gonna do?
So, have we got anything else on the agenda?
I would like to say, can we just appreciate how nice Nick's mic is?
Oh, it's glorious.
Is it better?
It's
Is
very
this
nice.
is this a big
it's really
improvement?
good. Yeah,
It sounds like you now. It's crazy.
Good.
sounds like you. That's good.
No,
It's
When
It
I
really
sounds
looked at the
nice.
audio file of your screenshot, both of your audio was like quite a good level. Mine was like tiny. It was like there's no noise coming out of it at all.
And then sometimes it was really big as well.
And it
was-
peaked.
It was up and down.
Terrible. It's a shame because like it's a good headset.
I
It's
don't
just
know why.
interesting
it was struggling.
how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
it
not
sounds
sure.
really nice now though. Just a nice
So we got a
USB
good-
mic.
got a
Can't
good
really go wrong.
setup.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
But I don't think I have anything else particularly relevant to add.
No.
No, I mean, we
Should we finish
talked
this one
about.
up?
Yeah, we've talked
Yeah.
about how to
All
organise our
sorts.
time,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that was the goal.
That
Yeah,
was
we
that
can-
was the goal.
that was the
Tick that
goal.
off
So
you can highlight that
the
one on
tick-
your
the
sheet,
ticklet.
Harry.
Yeah.
you
That's
ticked it
getting
off your
crossed
WordPad file, handy.
Thank you. I can tick it and then remove it.
Yeah, no, I think just sort of covered sort of things we do, how we sort of manage doing our own projects and alongside work. I'm not entirely sure how clear it was, but at least we got all the information out there of what we
Maybe
do.
a bit rambly, but
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's
We
going to
should
be
have
the
said
gist of
that
this
it was
podcast.
like,
To be honest,
yeah, it's as
They'll
well
get
as
better.
having a full-time job. I don't think we covered that bit.
I don't think we did. To be honest, I think
Well,
we
we
just
said
talked
we
about.
were.
It's how to do
Managing
it if you've
time.
got a full-time job or you're a full-time student. That's
Yes.
what we should have covered.
It was more about, yeah,
I mean, it was probably
If you've
implied.
made it this far, you now know.
and we are sorry. We will get better at being
Oh, for sure.
succinct.
A
Yeah.
bit more structured. And I think the bit where we say what we've done within the last week, that's going to be our like start for every single one. We're just going to
Yeah,
have
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
a few minutes
gonna
on
do
what
like
we've
that.
done. I think that's a good good thing.
I think it's a
Yeah,
good
People might be
opening.
interested.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you
Yeah,
if you
thank
made
you.
it this far.
Stick around for some more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. See you
weekly podcasts.
weekly.
Ish. We'll see.
If we see,
We've got a week buffer.
Yes.
we do.
We'll try.
We do.
Oh. See you later.
See you later.
Yeah,
guys.
cheers.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, we didn't say our names. I better put that at the start.